Hey everybody, welcome to the latest edition of Sketchy Go Ichie. I'm your host, Roger Andrews, artist, illustrator, graphic designer, content creator. And the content I'm creating for you today is another video in my series on Procreate. More specifically, a beginner's guide to Procreate. Yes, you guessed it, I'm going to give you step-by-step instruction on how to use and learn the app. And you're going to be a super master at it when you're done. Actually, I can't really promise you that, but you will learn to enjoy the app just by simply knowing. All right, so stay tuned and enjoy.
Sketchy Go Ichie.
All right, we are back. Back where? We are in our beginner's guide to Procreate. I already have the Procreate gallery screen loaded here in front of you. What we're going to work on today is the power of the brush/eraser combo in Procreate. And before you say, brushes again? Yes, brushes again. You've got to know this about Procreate. In my opinion, and I stated this in previous videos, particularly on this topic, the brush tool is the most powerful thing about Procreate. Obviously, there are many aspects about rendering digitally that make it so special and so easy to do and so easy to replicate and edit and all the things that make it a wonderful medium. However, the brush tool in Procreate to me is what converted me over from other applications. I'm not going to name any names. And so let's get right into it. In the gallery screen, for those who are unaware and haven't seen the previous videos, which I would highly recommend you do, in this series, the Beginner's Guide to Procreate, there's a little plus icon in the corner. You click on that guy, and that is the new canvas. And we're going to select a new canvas. For the method and for the way of doing this, it's really just a simple matter of going down this list of options. I'm going to select the simplest one right here at the top, just a square. And we're going to get into, trust me, I'm going to deep dive into canvases and all that stuff. It's a little more advanced, but we're just going to select a basic square. Okay? So it automatically loads for us. Here's, all right, so we're doing brush. Here's our brush tool. It's already selected. Here's our erase tool. If you hopscotch over the smudge tool, that guy in the middle is the smudge tool. That's perfect for people who like to render in a painterly style. I don't, so I very seldom use the brush tool. Can, but don't. And there's a lot of other applications for the brush tool that are a little more technical, and I can get into that again down the road. But first, brush tool, which is selected here, right? There's our color tool in the corner, and our eraser tool. Let me select that, so it's highlighted in blue. Once you select it, it's highlighted in blue. That's how you know what tool is active. Just look up to the top of the to the top of the screen there, the toolbar that runs along the top, and you will see. There it is, right? All right, here's your layer palette. Here's what I want to get into first, and this is a little added bonus. The background color. Now, notice right now, on screen is white. Oftentimes when I'm sketching, I don't like to sketch on a stark white background. I think it's not harmful to your eyes or anything, or maybe it is. People may be a little more photosensitive. I don't know. But, and for those who are, I sympathize, so this might help. What you want to do, in my opinion, is when you're just sketching, just freestyle and sketching, I like to select a background color. If you notice, if you're in the background screen, it automatically changes, or should I say the background layer, it automatically changes the color to whatever you select. So, of course, you can select from the disk. Again, in one of my previous videos, I get into the color disk and how to select what's going on up here. this ring and this outer ring. It's indicated right here at the very bottom of the palette. You have other options. You have classic, which is just a field of gradiated color, where you can move one slider, this little circular slider along, and it will select the color you land on. Okay? You can do it that way. Pretty simple. There's harmony, where you have, a single disc, but notice that other one is changing, and it's trying to figure out what the best harmonic color range by moving around. I don't really use that one much, probably because the disc is my preferred one. Value, of course, you can do it with sliders. Your hues, your RGB and your HSB, you can change the variation. So if you want a really precise color, you can go in here. And of course you have your color palettes, which you can add to, and you can change these, and you can create more palettes. You can do all that cool stuff here. I prefer the disc because you got a little bit of everything going on all in one. I feel like this is, in my opinion, the most versatile one. To each their own. Okay, so anyways, so whenever you're selecting that background, if you're on the background palette, whatever thing you click on will be reflected on that background. Okay? All right, so wherever you land is fine. You can click done, and that is now the background color. Okay? If you notice there's a layer 1 already selected, that means if I select that, I change the background. If I go back to layer 1, which it seems to automatically do by default, there you go. Now I can color or render or draw on that layer. So when I'm sketching, obviously, this is another tricky trick. When I'm sketching, I generally don't sketch in black. The reason I don't is because I'm an artist who works with the ink line, and I feel like when I start to apply black, I'm at the final stage. So I usually pick like a lower grade of gray, not the sometimes the darkest. There's a mid. This is the real middle. This is probably like, I don't know, like a 40% gray. Maybe it's like a 30%, and this is like pure white. This is probably 60 to 70%, and this is probably like an 80% gray. If you look at the scale from 0 being white and 100% being black, okay, which would be this guy right here. So I usually select either this one or this one to render in for sketches. Okay, so brush tool. I like to sketch with the ink bleed. Again, guys, people all ask me all the time, what brushes to use, what settings, all that stuff right here. Within each brush is a setting. It's called the Brush Studio. The ability to change the brushes. There are many different things. And again, I will do a whole video dedicated to the Brush Studio. But you can play in the Brush Studio. You can alter all of these different aspects and create a brush, and you can see what's going on with that brush. All right, we're gonna cancel that. But ink bleed is what I use for sketching. Again, so we have our gray selected, we have our brush selected, and there's our eraser tool. All right, so these two guys I like to go back and forth between quite a bit, and you will too as you go through this journey of learning Procreate from the beginning. Okay, so we have our tool, 2 fingers applied to the screen and held will allow you to move around the screen, zoom in and out, okay, to zoom to pinch, to expand, separate the fingers a bit, like allow them to separate from each other, not off the hand, just from each other. To pinch is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to express. Okay, so again, over here we have our brush size, which is indicated here. If you notice the icon, or should I say the graphic within, shows a kind of a rough little rough brush. The indicator here is it's not a perfect circle, like as you would see. And then we have, this is even better indicated. This is the opacity of the brush, right? Again, I'm just sketching. Generally, when I'm inking, of course, I want the opacity all the way shot up to the top because I want the deepest, densest black. But in this case, I'm working in this gray on gray. If I scoot down a little bit on opacity, that's fine. And then brush size, I usually go around the midpoint because I've got a brush that's pretty dense. Here, let me show you by doing a few strokes. Okay. I had a whole video on pen pressure and brush pressure. You know how heavily you apply that pressure is what will allow you to get a thicker, denser stroke, and then how light you apply it is what gives you the more finer, delicate lines. Okay. And of course you can alter it by having one finger here where the slider is and on the screen. So thicker stroke here, thinner stroke here. You can go that route as well. There are 2 options. Okay, and 2-finger tap will undo. Okay, so I'm sketching. I'm gonna go to the midpoint, go a little bit down on the opacity, and so draw something random. For some reason, when I'm drawing something random, oh, it always becomes a character. Right? And I always start off with my little pawn shape. Okay, so we'll make it a big-eyed character. Alright, big droopy eyes. But notice the fluidity of the stroke just based off of selecting ink bleed as a brush. So again, select that guy, ink bleed. Alright, so I will just kind of press down, creating a little bit of pressure for a denser stroke, right? And a little bit less for a finer stroke. Okay. Again, everyone has a different technique, a different way of doing these things. Right? So there's no reason to be intimidated for any shape, any reason whatsoever. Okay? Please don't be. That's the whole point of these videos. I want to make it so that way you can feel like you've got Procreate down. All right? That's the whole reason for this. Okay, so I'm going to draw this little character. By now, hopefully, some of you are kind of figuring out who this is. I'm not even going to say because we got copyright things going on. Alright. This little guy. There he is. Alright, probably has some balance like that. Do these guys right here. And oh, of course I've got to introduce a new tool in the brush and in the eraser video, right? This is just a selection tool, the little arrow, directly select. The reason I selected that one is because I want to move this guy up a little bit. Again, another powerful aspect of rendering digitally is your ability to manipulate the image within within the canvas. Obviously, if I was sketching this on a sketch pad, the fact that he was drawn low in the page and kind of off center, I would just had to deal with it. There's no way around that. All right, so we have our little character sketch, right? So there he is. No problems, no issues. He is a sketch. Now, what if, say, I want to do exactly what I expressed earlier. I'm an ink line art guy who fills it with color. I like to fill the ink line with color after the fact. So in order to do that, right, I go into here. Again, if you've seen the previous video, trust me, I'm going to get to the eraser in a minute. If you've seen the previous video, the power of using layers, right? So here is our layer 1, right? So I want to ink. So of course I'm going to want to ink on top of layer 1. So I hit the plus button within the layer palette and it creates, guess what? Layer 2, right? So we now know that if we click this guy in the corner, this little circle in the corner, the color selector, right? It's going to bring down the color palette. And within that color palette is the disc. And of course at the bottom we have our palette, our trusty palette. And within that is black. There he is in the corner. Note how the disc reacts to me selecting any of these colors, right? See how the position changes? It's kind of good to see that because if you want a pure version of what is selected here, like this blue, you can kind of see where this is on the disc and where this is on the inner circle, right? But black is black. It doesn't matter where where this circle is on the outer disc. If you select black down here, it is black. All right, you got it? So there's layer 2 selected. Here's our pen. Now because I'm in ink bleed, you're gonna want to change that unless you prefer a etchier, rougher ink line. I like a smooth one depending on the circumstances. So I have technical pen. That's the one I like to use to ink. Some people like studio pen. Some people like to buy brush sets, pre-made brush sets by other artists. Completely up to you. But I'm going to select studio pen. It's the one, it's kind of my go-to. Okay? So once selected, right? Once my color is selected, which is black, this is selected, which is the brush. I've created a new layer, right? I have layer 1 underneath. Okay, let's go over here and let's start inking. All right, so again, we move the slider down. I'm going to find the mid place along the brush size, and I'm going to keep this one opacity all the way shot up to 100 because I want black. Okay, 2 fingers to zoom. All right, so we'll start inking. Notice how I'm shifting shifting the canvas around, because whenever I'm inking, and I imagine any inker or any artist who likes to render in ink or paint even for that matter, you shift the canvas, or you shift the paper, or you shift, in this case, the screen, to find a comfortable position to make your ink strokes. See? So this is why I like the pen, that particular pen, technical pen. It's the tapering. Notice how it comes to the sharp point. Okay? Here's, again, eraser tool was supposed to be part of this. I know, not just brush, but eraser tool. Here is where it comes in handy. Okay? All right, so I draw that line. I don't like it. 2-finger tap to undo it. For that one, much better. Okay? But here's the thing. Let's zoom in. All right, it's really pixelated because I selected a lower canvas size in terms of dots per inch. I'll get into it, but when you zoom way in, and this is way in, look at, this is way in, all right? You notice 2 things, or several things about this, that ink line, right? We have these overlaps, all right? You can see it here, although I like this one where the eye is, but I'm gonna erase it anyways. And that little guy right there, okay? This is where the eraser tool comes in handy. In the eraser tool, like the brush tool, you can select any of these options, and I mean any of them, to basically represent the eraser tool. That being the case, I generally like to use the same tool, the ink pen, because of the precision I'm used to using it, or studio pen, which I've created a fatter version of the studio pen, which you can adjust here in that brush studio. Okay? So I'll select studio pen for now, all right? Again, you want to note where it is. See the circle? Get wider. And this thing goes really large. I created it so it's super large. I want to erase big areas. So I'm going to have to go pretty mid for that one to have any kind of control on a smaller, more delicate thing that I want to erase. Okay, so it is what it is. It's an eraser tool. It literally erases. And if you zoom way in, you'll have a certain level of control. Maybe not perfect, but a certain level of control. Okay, see? So it's getting rid of that extra point, and that, so where it was overdrawn. Now we have a nice shape. This nice sort of like oval eye shape, almond shape, as if you were. All right. So that's the eraser tool. So I've created a line, and in order to be fluid when I'm inking or painting, I want to have the ability to go back in and erase. The eraser, that's what makes the eraser tool so powerful in conjunction, in combination with the brush tool. So when we go back to the brush tool, so simply select the brush tool after the eraser tool. Again, it's highlighted in blue. That's how you know it's selected. And we'll do another line. All right, I like that one. So we have our oval. Aha, what just happened? Did you notice how, I'm gonna do that again. I did that, all right, so 3 fingers, by the way, 3 fingers, 2 fingers goes back, undoes, goes back in time. 3 fingers is your time machine back to the future. No pun intended, all right? So 3 fingers brought back that irregular shape that I created with that oval. Notice, look, it overhangs over here. It's kind of wonky at the top. It's a little jagged over here and thicker over there. But what I did is, 3 fingers, 3 fingers to get it all the way to the current time, to the year 2020. Notice how it got cleaned up. The shape was sort of, is now smooth all the way around. I've got this little jig here, which I can take care of with the eraser tool. But notice how it's all clean. Here's a cool feature. Again, Procreate. I'm sure there's a bunch of apps that do this, but I love what Procreate does with this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go off to the side here. I'm gonna create an oval shape. See how there's an edit shape thing that instantly comes up, all right? But look how perfect that oval is. Trust me, the way I rendered that line was not perfect. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do one little more janky. See how it made it perfect? That's your quick trick for the day. Quick trick alert, right? Here's what happens. In Procreate, if you render a shape, two-finger tap to undo, right? You render a shape, right? And you hold down. You don't release. In other words, you draw the stroke and you don't release. It allows you the ability to manipulate that shape and give you a smoother version of it. So I'm working on sort of this oval shape, and I can, if I hold down, I haven't released, it allows me to manipulate it, move it around, okay? That's your quick trick of the day, right there. And you can also edit that shape. I'm not gonna get into that, but that little feature right there is super huge for using this app, okay? So there's the bad shape, back in here's the good shape. So again, power of the eraser. I have this little area here where it's a little funky. I can just erase it away. If I don't like it, two-finger tap it back to where it was. Or I can use the pen tool, again, toggling between the two of them, and get in there and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. And you can shift and move it around to find, you gotta find that comfortable, you gotta find your comfort zone when you're inking. It's close enough. Okay? So, I'm going to show you another quick trick that I love to use when using Procreate. Okay, so you see these big black shapes? This one's going to blow your mind for those who don't use this app. Alright, so again, I draw my little sort of rounded shapes. Alright, same thing here. Same thing here. I'm making sure that I connect this black line to that line. All right? This one you're gonna love. Okay? So you go back, so you go to our little color selector, which still has black selected. You click and hold. Or should I say, you click and drag. Not hold, click and drag. And when you drag it, you let go. Once you reach that black area. Yes, you just saw it correctly. Let's show you again. Let go. All right, I'm gonna undo that. I'm going to this one. All right. Now here's the thing. If you stay in there, there's a little blue slider that runs along the top here. It's the threshold. Excuse me. It's the threshold. Notice the percentage changing. What that does is the computer is sort of analyzing this space, and it's filling all the little white areas and all the areas where it's like it's not perfectly aligned. Or should I say the color doesn't meet the edge of the line. And if you, the wider, or should I say the more threshold you give it, the more the color, the more intense the black or whatever color fills that space. So you have to kind of play with this one a little bit. But I haven't released the line yet. Let me show you low threshold. See how you're starting to see that? So the white edges where the black was filled in and it doesn't quite make it to the line. So you just scoot it over. So again, I have not let go yet. Okay? At all. Have not let go. Got it? I found the threshold I want, then I let go. Now it's locked in. Not locked in forever because I can two-finger tap and get rid of all of this, which I will do right now. See? And I can just keep going till it's gone. Got it? So, let's get back to inking. So, I'm going to take this guy here. Again, it's just... I'll do that. If you're wondering why I didn't keep that one, I didn't like the flow of the lines. I'm just kind of following that. So, kind of following that line there. I can alter it later if I want. Again, we're going to fill it in. Make sure the threshold's right. Oh, what happened there? Not so good, right? Here's what happens. Here's the drawback. Notice how this line doesn't meet. Right? It has to meet. That's how we fix it. We just draw that stroke and make sure it's complete. And then now we can fill with no problem. Okay? Same deal here. All right. And then just expand this a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the line art. Or should I say the shading so you can see it. And I'm just going to adjust this just a touch. Okay, so we have this weird shape, which looks kind of strange by itself without any context. Maybe we'll bring this guy back in. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna bring this down some more as well. Okay, so there's your eye shape, or one of the eye shapes. Again, back to the eraser tool. Powerful part of the eraser tool. There are, if you can manipulate what's going on here, you can erase for drawing purposes. Crazy, right? You can erase for drawing purposes. Meaning, I want to add a little stroke to that. I can. Take some away here. I can. Don't like that one. 2-finger tap. Maybe scoop this down just a touch. Oh, you know what's going on? It's because I have Studio Pen selection. I don't have the same level of control as I do with the technical pen. So I'm going to select the technical pen. Again, under the eraser tool, I'm going to undo those guys. Now that I have the technical pen selected, I have a better, nice tighter stroke. That's what I was going for. Alright. So again, let me knock this guy out so you can see what's going on here a little bit. He's gonna have a really droopy eye when I'm done with him. Hope you're getting that. Alright? So you can use the eraser tool to take away parts of the black. If that makes sense. That's the power of using these two guys in combination. It's the one aspect of being able to render a line. Alright, so we'll take the top of his head, for example. Alright, we'll render that line. So I have that edge right there. Alright, so that's not perfect. But no way, shape, or form is that connection point perfect where those meet. However, if I select the erase tool, scoot it down some, I can control the edge and make an edge that I prefer. You see? Still not perfect, but I can get in there and oops, too much. That's a much better line. Again, I have that edge there. I want to bring it from the jaw down to the chin. So instead of starting right here and having this big glob, see, doesn't look so great, which I can still erase it, doesn't matter. I'm gonna come over here so I can get a nice fluid line. Double finger tap, let me zoom down so I can see where I want to end. Alright? Again, back to the eraser. You can toggle back and forth. I have a setting in here that allows me to toggle back and forth, but you're gonna want to go between these two guys. Just kind of just do a little hopscotch right over the smudge tool for now, and just use your trusty eraser to get rid of the excess. And that, in my opinion, is how a lot of artists, digital artists, can do really great inking, clean inking, right? Because people always ask me, well, how do you get such clean lines? Let the app do the work. Although, ultimately, I'm doing the work. Again, so, not much to see here yet, just a random eye. You can bring some of that in there. Again, using the brush tool and the eraser tool to make it happen. Alright? I can go in and render all this and will at some point. I want to matter of fact, if you check out all my previous videos, you'll see me doing full renders of characters and stuff, so don't feel disappointed. But I really just wanted to give you the emphasis in a small, simple way of using the brush tool. Again, selection of the brush, size, opacity. The eraser tool, same options. Size, opacity, brush selection, right? And the usage of both together in conjunction with whatever color you select. So that's the brush and eraser combo. More to come. Just want to keep these really simple. Hope you're enjoying them. If you are, please feel free to click the like button. And of course, please do subscribe and share with your friends. The more the merrier. All right? Hope you're having fun learning Procreate in a step-by-step process. If you are, you know what to do. Oh, I almost forgot to mention. You do realize you guys can always leave a comment here on YouTube. I'd love to interact. Definitely can interact with you about Procreate or any other thing art related. So, sketchy go ichie. Live your moment. Happy sketching, y'all. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Thanks for watching. Peace.